our great need for distraction at the moment. It's very pronounced with technology. The use of phones, the inability to put a phone down. I just this morning was talking with my mother about being in a charity shop and having great crack and fun with the employees, not the employees, the helpers, the what's the term for them?
Volunteers.
The volunteers in the shop, where it turned into just an absolute joy of fun and laughter and interaction. And I walked out of the shop with Andrea, and I commented how much I missed old Dublin, because I remember as a kid you could get that at a bus stop and on the bus. And so my mother was saying how she missed it. She used to love the conversation she would have on the bus going into town, and now all it is, you know, a mass of people with their heads at 90-degree angles into their laps on the phone. And how sad it is, you know, that everybody is going into a very, very small screen, and their consciousness is going into this kind of microchip, and it's diffusing into a microchip, and it's nearly where there's nearly some Orwellian nightmare of, you know, technology is controlling the person. We see it as a camera on the sidewalk or a camera above watching you. It's not. It's a camera you actually willingly carry, a piece of technology that you hold within your own being, and you push it upon yourself, and you're involved in some sort of perverse relationship with this piece of manufactured plastic and steel. And the human beside you, this absolute incredible creation beside you, with a story that is unequalled, is so individual and so unequalled, and yet you miss out on the potential of just hearing a partial glimpse into that story for that 10 minutes that you're on the bus. A story that I, as a kid, you know, when I was 14 or 15, going into town to go into Mead Street to get a good deal in the market or whatever, and I'd end up beside a 70-year-old woman, or I'd get up from the seat and I'd let the 70-year-old sit down, and the woman would sit down. She'd go, you're very good, son, you're very good. Where are you going? And you'd have a conversation about going into, you know, Frawley's, or you're going up to Moore Street, or you're picking something up for your mum or whatever, and she'd say, you're very good, where are you from? And you'd tell her a bit, and she'd tell you something about how Dublin was, or how things might have been in a past that you couldn't comprehend because of the age difference. And a piece of real history, a deep kind of connected history was given to you. And I absolutely feckin' loved that. I absolutely loved it. And I was a kid who really appreciated it at a very young age. And I love to talk to older people. And now I just see it as all lost. You know, I see it as an unfortunate casualty of kind of the progression of humanity, and sad. But I would love to think that we could keep our technology, but know when to release it from that box, and to be able to kind of enjoy the deepness of that, you know, that human kind of connection. So important, so important. And you know, discussing that as well, where, you know, you're talking about the minute silence at a football match and them reducing it to 20 seconds because the attention span, actually at that, if you're asking to reduce the kind of the minute silence to 20 seconds as a mark of respect, we should all put goldfish masks on. We should stand with goldfish faces on, because something's dismally wrong if we can't stand in a minute's silence. And I actually remember as well in Lansdowne Road, when I was probably about 12 years old, doing a minute's silence. And I remember a sense of peace. And it's interesting because there's always a huge anticipation before a big rugby international or any match, So you know, as a kid I was excited about being there and in the crowd, and then the minute silence comes in, this hush comes across, and there's something very beautiful about 50,000 people going quiet in a small space. There's something very meditative about it, and I would imagine that if the person who had passed away, his family, were in the crowd, it would be a powerful healing effect on them to have that amount of people witness their own pain and to honour their loved one. So I think the importance of it can't be underestimated, and I think we need to look at ourselves if we can't sit for a minute for another human being, or for any kind of I suppose state of tragedy that might happen within the world, that you can't just stop and say we're gonna give our attention to that just for a moment. Technology again, the TV, it all flashes past us so quickly. You know, in one segment 1,000 people have died, and we're eating our dinner on our lap, and we're thinking about the X Factor, which comes up next. And wouldn't it be nice if we all just stopped and just remembered that they added to this whole thing, this whole experience, and that we should remember them. I think we need to look at ourselves.